Hi everyone, Breathe in the Air Tano here, the internet's busiest music nerd, and it's time for a review of this new Key Glock album, Glokoma 2. Key Glock is a beloved Memphis rapper who is also the cousin to the late Young Dolph. I'm now catching up with a project he did here that he dropped much earlier in 2023, but then put out a deluxe edition for the record, refurbishing it a little bit with some songs on the front end just this summer. I wasn't blown away by this project at first, but decided to revisit with it after having seen it had some staying power with a few people placing it on their mid-year lists. And you know what? I'm glad that I went back to this thing. First off, this project is the sequel to a 2018 mixtape Glock put out. And the progression from there to here is pretty much a tribute to Glock's consistency, as well as knowing who he is artistically and being so relaxed and comfortable in that. Because this guy is a Memphis rapper, and he sounds like it. He has that trademark Tennessee drawl for one, and with this project, he's consistently hopping on these southern rap beats with an old school and laid back feel, a strong melodic component to them as well, and the production on this record is so consistent and so complementary to Glock's style, I'm surprised it was actually done by a round of different beatsmiths. Really, it feels like all of it or much of it could have just come from one guy, but that's the thing. Glock knows who he is creatively so well, and that's why he's choosing the instrumentals with such specificity. So yeah, I love the beat choices he makes on this project, whether we're talking about the epic string layers and soulful vocal chops on the opening track, or Designer Down, which sounds almost like an 80s golden age hip-hop throwback kind of beat, maybe with a slight electro feel to it, but it's slowed down 100% for a kind of woozy effect. There's also Work, which features these very eerie, pitched down vocal harmonies, murky bass that feels kind of surreal and odd. The beat switch and tangy electric piano hits on 2 for 1 are absolutely sick as well. The way the piano chord samples skip across the beat on From Nothing To is absolutely sick, and the heavenly and twinkly chord bits on Pop My Shit make this instrumental one of the most heavenly on the entire record. I could go on about these beats. To put it bluntly, a lot of these instrumentals just find power in simplicity. We get a lot of quality and tasteful loops that are chopped perfectly and aren't so crazy or stand out or lively that they drown Glock out or anything like that. They fit the laid back vibe of the entire thing really well. And supporting these samples is nothing but very punchy, head-nodding beats with basic rhythm patterns and very crisp perks. Key Rex, I think, was maybe one of the only beats I wasn't too crazy about, and that's mostly because the drums felt a little overpowered in respect to the super atmospheric tones kind of hanging in the background. Not to just praise the instrumentals on this thing though, because Glock is really the glue that holds this record together, but I don't want to oversell what he does or give you guys like a false impression going into this record, because this guy isn't going to be winning an award for like being the best spitter or lyricist anytime soon. He's not the kind of dude who's out here trying to impress you with his many flow switches or double entendres. For the most part, Glock's delivery and performance style is very entrancing. It's intoxicating. The energy of his rapping and the energy of the instrumentals are really kind of combine into a 1-2 punch that just gives me the sensation of being high as hell. I'm in like this deep mental haze that I'm feeling pretty good about, and I just don't want to leave. Again, it's not super flashy or technical or anything like that, but there's still something about his very middle of the road delivery and steady flows that is just deeply relaxing and charismatic and kind of fun. And sure, sometimes lyrically or flow-wise on tracks, things can get a bit redundant, be that on Randy Orton or Chromosomes or even Money Over Hose, which has a pretty unique flow, one of the most unique on the entire record, but it's kind of short and doesn't switch up all that often, so the entire track kind of feels like it's locked into a never-ending chorus or something like that. So yeah, unfortunately, some of the song structures on these tracks can be a little one note. But when Glock hits a stride on these cuts, he hits a stride, and it feels great, whether he is delivering some really catchy flows about his work ethic on the track Work, or hitting us with a more determined flow and delivery on 2 for 1, where he drops some kind of funny similes, like bullets make you duck, duck, goose, you better run. Also Glock Schwarzenegger, I'll terminate ya. We also get some relatively poppy flows as well as nods to Pimp and Bun B of UGK fame on the track Pop My Shit. The beat on this cut feels a lot more playful too, which is an interesting contrast from some of the more murderous and threatening bars on the cut. Glock definitely has a sense of wit and humor about him, sort of knowing and understanding what he's rapping about and how that sounds given his delivery or the type of beat that he's riding on top of. And oftentimes that is enough to make this record interesting and refreshing for a lot of modern Southern rap out there, even if he is dealing in topics that are pretty familiar for the lane that he's in. Meanwhile, his vocals on Fuck That Shit are so entrancing and low-key, I feel like this is the sensation of the dark voices taking over in my head. It's like a devil is on my shoulder rapping into my ear, and I'm like, yes, yes, yeah, no, yeah, that's true. Then one of his strongest showings lyrically has to be the closing track, Fuck a Feature, which just has such huge charisma and just big dick energy all over the song, right from when he says he might pay himself for a feature. Just super snappy but low-key, cold-blooded Southern hip-hop album with a great Memphis twist and a lot of awesome but simple production. You know, it's not reinventing the wheel, it's not revolutionizing anything per se, but it works. And because there is a deluxe edition of the album, I did want to talk about that a little bit too. Again, it adds 8 tracks to the front end of the record, and there are some serious highlights in this 8-track run. Be that Glock's mostly bare and unsupported rap flows on the opener Sucker Free, which it's really kind of cool to hear that much space around his voice. You really kind of get more of a flavor for his delivery and his inflection. There's also the amazing set of vocal samples that are hype as hell on the track Let's Go. No Hook and Penny can pretty much go toe-to-toe with much of everything else on the record. But then as we get further into the whole thing, we do start to lose steam, and these extra tracks really fail to add more to the album, because it's not like this is a super versatile or dynamic record to begin with. When you're listening to this album with Key Glock, what you hear on the surface is pretty much what you get, which means a kind of dry and underproduced cut like Presidential Rolex or a song like Last Man Standing, where he's not adding that much to the record lyrically. Yeah, these moments feel a little redundant. And Lean Habits, while I do like the vibe of that track, you know, considering how much drinking cough syrup kind of plays into this record as a theme, a song titled that, you know, could have been like maybe a little self-reflective about the whole thing, would have been a nice change of pace, but that song doesn't even kind of live up to that expectation. Still, on the whole, I will say these additional tracks do make the project that much more enjoyable, which is why I'm feeling a strong 7 to a light 8 on this one. Transition, have you given this album a listen? Did you love it? Did you hate it? What would you rate it? You're the best, you're the best. What should I review next? Hit the like if you like, please subscribe, and please don't cry. Hit the bell as well. Over here next to my head is another video that you can check out. Hit that up or the link to subscribe to the channel. Anthony Fantano, Key Glock, forever.